Welcome to the podcast. Today we're diving into the world of peptides, specifically BPC 157, which is causing quite a stir in recovery protocols. It's like, a potential game changer for healing.
Absolutely. So what exactly is BPC 157 in layman's terms?
Well, BPC 157, or body protection compound 157, is a synthetic peptide derived from a natural protective protein found in gastric juice. It's engineered to be super stable and to promote tissue repair throughout the body.
Yeah, right. It's like using a small snippet of nature's own design to trigger enormous healing processes. Could you explain how its peptide structure optimizes its function?
Sure. So peptides in general are basically short chains of amino acids. Because of their small size, they're absorbed much more easily than whole proteins, which means they can be directed specifically to promote tissue regeneration, support hormone production, and even immune responses.
And with BPC 157, it's only 15 amino acids long, right? That seems incredibly compact for such a wide range of benefits.
Exactly. It's like you give it a tiny push and it can, modulate growth factors, enhance angiogenesis by stimulating new blood vessel formation, and accelerate fibroblast migration, all crucial for speeding up repair.
That's fascinating. So not only does it reduce inflammation, but it actively regenerates tissue, unlike typical anti-inflammatories that just, mask pain.
Exactly. And that's what sets it apart. Conventional treatments reduce symptoms, but BPC 157 actually works on the underlying tissue repair mechanism. It boosts growth hormone receptors at the injury site, which kind of jumpstarts the healing process.
Got it. And it seems like the peptide is effective for a variety of injuries, including tendon, muscle, gut, and even joints, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, indeed. It's been particularly noted for tendon repair. Think ligament sprains and tendinopathy, where recovery is notoriously slow, muscle tears, where scarring is minimized, and even gastrointestinal issues like leaky gut and ulcers, since it regenerates the intestinal mucosa.
Yeah. Now let's talk about administration. There are different ways to use BPC 157, right?
Absolutely. Administration methods include subcutaneous and intramuscular injections, and even oral forms in capsules or liquid. Each route has its own bioavailability profile. For instance, oral capsules have about 30-40% bioavailability, often reaching the gut effectively, whereas injections, especially intramuscular ones, deliver, faster systemic absorption.
So, would you say that one method is generally better than the other?
Well, it really depends on the targeted injury. For example, if you're focusing on gut repair, oral administration might work well, whereas localized muscle injuries might benefit more from a careful injection either subcutaneously or intramuscularly. It's all about tailoring the approach to your needs.
And what about the protocol? I've heard timing and dosing are key components in getting the most out of BPC 157.
Definitely. Most user protocols suggest that you begin to notice improvements in about 1 to 2 weeks, with significant results often emerging after 3 to 4 weeks of consistent use. For acute injuries, higher initial doses, say around 500 mg/kg, can be beneficial, while chronic issues often respond better to lower, consistent doses, such as 250 mg/kg.
That sounds promising. But don't you think there might be some concerns about overusing a peptide like this, especially since it's still kind of in a regulatory gray area?
Yes. That's a really good point. Since BPC 157 isn't FDA approved for human consumption and is sold as a research chemical, there's a responsibility on the user's part to ensure safety, starting with proper sourcing from reputable suppliers and ensuring a qualified healthcare provider is consulted before use.
Right, and with any compound taken outside of clinical approval, quality control becomes critical. A counterfeit or impure product could, really jeopardize health.
Absolutely. That's why there's so much emphasis on verified sourcing, proper handling during reconstitution, and meticulous injection techniques. For instance, proper injection involves using fresh alcohol swabs, rotating sites, and not shaking the solution vigorously to avoid degradation.
Speaking of degradation, the storage seems to be a critical element too. The reconstituted peptide must be stored at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius, and exposure to direct light or repeated freeze-thaw cycles can reduce its potency.
Exactly. Maintaining a low temperature in an amber vial, typically for 4 to 6 weeks, is essential to preserve its stability. It's a bit like cooking a delicate sauce. You have to keep the proper conditions to maintain the flavor, right?
Yeah. And besides the administration and storage, it also appears that complementary therapies really enhance the results from BPC 157. Is that correct?
For sure. It works best in synergy with comprehensive recovery strategies. Think nutrition, targeted exercises, proper sleep, and even recovery modalities, like contrast therapy or compression garments. The peptide sets the stage, but the holistic approach provides the additional building blocks for tissue repair.
That makes sense. Without the right nutrition and a structured physical rehabilitation program, the peptide's benefits might not be fully realized, right?
Exactly. Proper protein intake, vitamins like C, zinc, and even copper are vital for collagen synthesis. And when combined with progressive loading exercises, it fosters a controlled environment for healing. It's like giving a car not just fuel, but the right kind of oil and maintenance too.
Yeah. Now I'm curious, how do we keep track of how well BPC 157 is doing its job?
That's a great question. Users are encouraged to document both objective metrics, like range of motion, strength tests, and pain scales, and subjective improvements such as their ability to perform everyday activities. Photos and consistent scheduled measurements every 3 to 4 days can help create a data-driven picture of recovery progress.
So essentially, it's about marrying science and personal experience to adjust the protocol as needed.
Precisely. A meticulous tracking system helps distinguish between real healing and, possible placebo effects. It's like having a rigorous experiment on yourself, ensuring every little improvement is noticed and documented.
Yeah, I see. And what about combining BPC 157 with other compounds? There's some discussion on synergistic effects, isn't there?
Yes, many enthusiasts combine it with compounds like TB500, GHK-Cu, or collagen supplements to potentially maximize repair. When stacked correctly, these synergistic compounds target multiple healing pathways simultaneously, providing a more robust recovery environment.
While that sounds promising, isn't there a risk of overloading the system or potential interactions that might be unpredictable?
That's a fair critique. Though the combinations can be very effective, they must be approached with caution. Each compound has its specific mechanism, and individual responses can vary. Consulting with a knowledgeable healthcare provider is crucial before starting any synergistic stack, particularly because long-term effects haven't been fully studied.
It's reassuring to see that despite the potential, experts are advocating a careful and individualized approach.
Absolutely. The key takeaway is that while BPC 157 offers remarkable healing potential, whether for muscle recovery, tendon repair, or even gut health, it isn't a magic bullet. It works best when incorporated into a broader, well-monitored recovery strategy, and when one takes into account proper dosing, quality sourcing, and safety protocols.
And in the end, it appears to be a balancing act, reaping the benefits while managing risks by being disciplined about administration and documentation.
Exactly. It's all about optimizing the healing process while ensuring that, the scientific and practical considerations are balanced. With chronic injuries or high-intensity training, this protocol could potentially cut recovery times significantly.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see how advancements in peptide research are creating new pathways for recovery. Do you think we'll see more regulated mainstream use of such peptides in the near future?
I believe so. As more clinical trials are conducted and data accumulates, the hope is that regulatory bodies will establish clearer guidelines. That, in turn, can make these peptides more accessible under controlled conditions, ensuring safety and efficacy for a broader population.
That's definitely an exciting prospect. And it seems that for now, careful experimentation combined with professional oversight is the way forward.
Absolutely. Whether you're an athlete looking for that extra edge or someone battling a persistent injury, BPC 157 represents a promising tool. Just remember, thorough research, proper protocols, and a healthy dose of caution are key.
Yeah, thanks for breaking that down. It really highlights both the potential and the responsibilities that come with using such an advanced recovery tool.
Definitely. And that's the nuanced beauty of biohacking. It's innovative, but it also demands respect for the science behind it.
Well, that wraps up our chat today on BPC 157. Thanks for the insightful discussion.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Until next time, keep questioning, keep researching, and stay healthy.